Hi guys, it's Hinda. Welcome to Cooking Fantasies. In today's video, we're going to be making these beautiful and super delicious chocolate crinkle cookies. Super delicious and chewy cookies covered in chocolates. I'm going to be explaining you throughout the video your options of flavor and chocolates you can use and how to use them and how to achieve this beautiful look. If you are watching for the first time, we make a lot of easy and delicious recipes, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified whenever a new recipe is up, and let's get baking. One more thing before we start, if you are new to the channel, I always leave down in the description box all the ingredients you're going to need in both the grams and the cups measurements, as well as a link to the full printable recipe. And as you see, we need very basic ingredients, nothing fancy. So I have everything ready here measured, and I'm going to start by breaking my egg. That should be in room temperature. I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to my egg and whisk it. And then I'm going to sift my icing sugar into the egg and whisk it together until it's well combined. You want to make sure it's well sifted. And same with the unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm going to sift it into my mixture and use a whisk to combine everything together. And make sure to use a good quality unsweetened cocoa powder. This will make a whole difference when it comes to the flavor of your cookies. Then go ahead and add the melted butter that should have already cooled. Don't use very hot melted butter. This will cook the egg and you don't want to have this at this point. So melt your butter either in a microwave or in a saucepan. Allow it to cool before you add it into the mixture. And again, using a whisk, combine it with the rest of the ingredients. Once everything is well combined, you have a fudgy-like texture. That's really good. That's how you want to have it. And then I'm going to be adding salt and baking powder to the flour and combining them together before I add them also to the mixture. And of course, you're going to have to sift them before you add them. And at this point, I'm going to be using a spatula instead of a whisk because it's getting heavy and it's easier to combine and to work it with a spatula. And you don't want to overwork the dough. Of course, you can use a standing machine or a kitchen machine if you prefer to, but you really don't need to because we don't need much power. We barely need to mix all the ingredients together. And then I'm going to be adding my flour, my sifted flour, until the dough comes together. And finally, the last thing I'm going to be adding is 1 tablespoon of spread. I'm using Nutella. You can use any kind of spread that you prefer. This will allow you also to play a little bit with the flavor. You can use Biscoff, white chocolate spread, Bueno, whatever you like. My cookie dough is ready. As you see, it holds nice together. And what I'm going to do is use a scale to measure my cookies, as I want them to have exactly the same size, but you don't have to do this. You can skip this if you want to. You can also use just simply eyeball the dough. And whether you are pre-measuring your cookies or just eyeballing them, I find it's easier to kind of divide the dough into the number of cookies I want to have before I shape them into balls. Of course, the balls, they don't have to be perfect as they will still be spreading while baking in the oven. And this is why we're going to have to place them on a baking tray with enough space. And now for the technical part. To achieve the crinkle look, I'm going to be using melted chocolate. I went for white chocolate and the combination of both dark and milk chocolate. You can use any kind of chocolate that you want. Chocolate, and it has at least 30 to 35% of cocoa butter. I used the scissors to make the tiniest cut in my piping bag. It's better to go small, and you can still cut a little bit more if the chocolate is not running smoothly. See in the video, I'm going to be slowly and carefully running enough chocolate to cover each cookie dough. It helps if the cookie dough is cold, not frozen of course, just cold. This helps the chocolate to set nicely and evenly all around the cookie ball. The fridge for a few minutes. This will help the chocolate to set nicely and evenly, and to achieve a very beautiful and even crinkle when the cookies are baked. And then I'm going to be doing the very same thing with white chocolate. Simply melt it, place it in a piping bag, and pour it over your cookie balls. And even though we are using the very same cookie dough recipe for the cookies, the kind of chocolate you're going to be using makes huge difference in terms of not only visual but also flavor. And this is an amazing way with one recipe to make different flavors of cookies with one batch. The oven should be preheated to 150 degrees Celsius, that's 302 degrees Fahrenheit. Baking time is between 12 to 14 minutes, and this depends on how big you made your cookies. If you went for the same size I went for, then they're going to need about 12 minutes to be ready. When using white chocolate, it's easier to tell. You can see the chocolate is starting to change color slightly. Then it's the perfect time to take them out of the oven. With dark chocolate, it's a little bit harder to tell. So it's not a problem if you open the oven to check on your cookies from the bottom, see if you're happy with the baking. Once you take them out of the oven, they smell so delicious, so chocolatey, and they look really pretty. Place them on a cooling rack until they cool, and then you can save them either in an airtight container for many days, or I also like to display them in a cookie jar. They look beautiful and they stay very soft and delicious for the longest time. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you will be trying it out. If you do try out this recipe, please let me know how it turned out. I'm always happy to have your feedback, to see your pictures on Instagram, on Facebook. It's the greatest pleasure. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to check the description box for the full list of the ingredients. And see you soon in the next video. Happy baking!